All right, everybody, welcome back. Good afternoon. Back to draft work here, and we are continuing on with defensive tackles. Probably going to have this group done by the end of the day, and we'll be moving on to new stuff tomorrow. But we got a few more defensive tackles to get into here. We're now pretty firmly into day 3, starting with Zane Durant of Penn State. So he's going to lead us off here. We got 4 guys to get through in this video, so we're going to move quickly. This video is sponsored by Prize Picks. More on them later. Okay, Zane Durant, Penn State, 22 years old. He is undersized. A lot of defensive tackles in this draft are undersized. 290, 30, not even 32-inch arms. He's got big hands, but everything else about him is pretty small. So the good news is he's a great athlete. He moves fast. He's got a lot of speed. He's got a lot of explosiveness, so he offsets it. And the big boards, we do have a couple of third-round grades on him, a fourth, a couple fourths, some sixth, even a seventh. Aggregate puts him in the 4th. Coming off 2 pretty productive years at Penn State. He had 11 tackles for loss in 2024. Not as productive or as good in general in 2025, which is never a great sign, but he did miss a little bit of time, I believe. So maybe on some level it's a little understandable. So positives with Zane Durant, he launches off the ball at the snap quickly. He's skilled at rushing the passer in multiple ways. He's able to use his speed. He's able to utilize some genuine pass rush moves. There's even a little bit of power there. There's even a little bit of pop. He's usually the low man because he is so short, so leverage is something that he's good at. He's more powerful than you would expect for an undersized tackle, and he's cerebral in reading and reacting to plays. So he's somebody who will like read the screen and then go to the screen. So good stuff with Zane Durant here. Now, the length is going to be a problem. This is probably going to have to be something that is, there's going to be some effort into mitigating this. This is a problem. He's going to get pushed around by stronger players because he is so small. And he does kind of have stiff hips. So even though he's very athletic, it doesn't totally get unlocked, if that makes sense. It kind of feels like it's limited by the hips. So he's really interesting. Mostly he's what you expect from an undersized tackle, but it's hard for me to totally piece this one together. I'll say the 4th round is fine. That's kind of consensus here. So let's go with 4th round on Zane Durant. Nothing wrong with it, but you know what you're getting into here. Okay, next up is Rayshaun Benny of the Michigan Wolverines. Older prospect, 24. Kind of more typically sized. He's sub 300, but only barely. So he's a little bit small, but not really undersized. Decent arm length, so that's good. Big boards, we got some thirds, we got a second, we've got some fourths, and the aggregate puts him in the 4th or early 5th, maybe even. So the smaller big boards drag him down a little bit. You can see there isn't a ton of production over the last couple years, but it's not awful production either. We're talking about a couple of tackles for loss. We're talking about 64 tackles. We're talking about some pressures. It's not nothing. This isn't a pure nose tackle. PFF grade was really nice these last couple of years. So the legitimate length stands out here. Unlike a lot of these undersized tackles, he's actually got decently long arms. Do you like sports? If you do, then the best way to make them even better and more exciting is using Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. Prize Picks makes daily fantasy simple. Just pick more or less on your favorite players' projections and build lineups with a few taps. Whatever sport you're into, Prize Picks gives you a fun way to stay locked in while you're watching. I've had a great time using Prize Picks so far. It makes this daily fantasy thing so easy and fun, and it even makes watching the games way more exciting. And with the cool social feeds feature, you can share lineups with your friends and even follow partners to tail or fade their picks. Obviously, we're in the NFL offseason right now, but we've got basketball, baseball, hockey, all kinds of other stuff, so don't be afraid to test things out in whatever sport clicks with you. You can even pick multiple sports in the same lineup and sweat everything at once. And don't forget about team picks, where you can pick winners, spreads, and totals on any major game. So, download Prize Picks, America's #1 sports app. And don't forget, code HMA, that is HMA, gives you $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. And remember, always gamble responsibly. All right, so he's also a good shedder, which is part and parcel of having decent arm length, so he can shed blockers. I think he'll be able to bring some flexibility forward. He played on the edge quite a bit, actually a good amount at Michigan. So you getting some flexibility here. He's not just an inside player. And I think he can I think he has some tools that will allow him to become a good pass rusher at some point. Now, he is 24, and we haven't really seen that much of his pass rush ability yet. So if you're somebody who thinks that he's just not going to get there, I don't blame you. We probably would have seen it a little bit more by now if it was there. He does play standing straight up, so he's going to have to learn how to sink his hips and bend his knees a little bit. He's going to have to learn how to play with leverage. And he's still not big or strong enough to hold up when he tries to root down against a more powerful blocker. So while he isn't undersized, he does get pushed around a little bit. And on a technique level, he does expose his chest to blockers a little too much. He is somebody that needs to learn hand placement and that kind of stuff a little bit better. So, Rayshaun Benny, there's actually some upside here to me. I actually kind of like the upside here. In a class like this one, somebody like this that could turn into like a pretty good all-around player is really nice. Maybe he can become an every down player. It's just he's already 24 and he hasn't yet, so it there's a decent chance it doesn't happen. Probably better than decent. So fourth rounder is fine. I'll like him a little bit more than the aggregate, but I can't go higher than fourth round because he is an older prospect and the ceiling is probably pretty close to being realized. Albert Regis, next guy up here. This one's interesting too. This guy might be a nose tackle because if you look at him, it's a little bit hard to figure out what you're dealing with. Texas A&M couldn't find his age, but very short, kind of squat. He's small, but he's not super small. He's just short, so he's built very low. Arm length is also very short, which might be a big problem, but this is an atypical build for a defensive tackle. Let's put it to you that way. He is athletic. He's fast. He's pretty quick. He's explosive. So at least he's bringing those traits forward, which is good. He's going to need that. But there are some people who think Regis is going to be a nose tackle. And if that is the case, then you've got to filter that expectation through when you're evaluating him. Big boards, mostly like fifth round range. Aggregate drags him down to the sixth. So somewhere around there. He's a middle day 3 guy. And good numbers last year, 49 tackles for a guy like this. That's pretty strong. Bats down a lot of passes too. That's like an underrated skill of his. PFF grades were pretty good, not stellar or anything like that, but pretty good. So the main benefit with Regis is that he's so short, he wins leverage. It's almost impossible for him to not win leverage because he's so short. He's very strong as well. He's like one of those little oak trees in the middle. I know he's not big, but he really does hold his ground pretty well. Fundamentally sound in how he engages with blockers. He understands little technique things like where to place his hands and how to engage initially. He's a great athlete for the position as well. And he consistently plays with the right technique. In general, I think consistency is the key here with Albert Regis. He's a consistent player from snap to snap, constantly doing the right thing, and he'll maximize his potential impact because he understands he needs to be consistent. Now, the short arms are going to be a much bigger problem in the NFL than they were in college. He really didn't offer anything as a pass rusher in college, despite his athleticism, so you have to have the right expectations when he goes to the NFL. He's not a good tackler, mostly because his arms are short, and he also struggles with some reactive athleticism stuff despite being a good athlete. And he might end up being a little bit positionless. Like, he can't play nose because he's too small and his arms are too short, but he also doesn't rush the passer well enough to be a 3-tech. There could be some complications here. So I'm rooting for the dude because he's unconventional, and it would be really fun if he was good. He could become really useful because of how short he is, but he could become very limited because of how short his arms are. So I don't know which way this is going to be. Late fourth is fine by me. The day 3 of this draft is going to be relatively low stakes anyway, so I kind of feel like betting on him a little more than I probably should. I admit that, but there's something fun about this guy, and in a draft like this, don't underestimate the value of fun. Last guy is Tyler Onedim. Probably butchered that, my bad, but sorry. Don't really think I've seen this one before. It sounds like it might be an Onedim, but Texas A&M, another A&M lineman. Couldn't find his age. He's undersized, but he's also kind of tall, which we don't love that, but he does have the long arms, man. 34 inches plus. That's really good. We like that a lot. He's also pretty explosive. He jumped at the combine and did quite well, although he did about as well as you would hope given that he's undersized. Big boards, mostly like 6th round, 7th round range. Aggregate has him in the 6th. Numbers, they were good last year, man. 8.5 tackles for loss, 48 tackles. He makes plays in the backfield. He's not just a space eater. He's a playmaker. PFF grade's not great or anything, but it's okay. It's fine. So the strengths with Onedem, he's able to get off blockers quickly. He knows how to use his length to stack and shed blockers, so he has that part of his game down pretty well. The long arms are really nice, and right away they kind of get your attention compared to some of these other guys. A lot of these smaller guys also have shorter arms. He's a good overall athlete as well, and you see that in his ability to like shoot gaps and get into the backfield. He's got a quick first step, which he utilizes well to get through the edges and through the gaps and make plays in the backfield. He's rangy also. He's able to cover some decent ground. He's not just a trash can in the middle of the defense. He moves around. He's mobile. There's some pretty cool stuff here with Onedem. I appreciate all that, but there are some clear and obvious limitations we have to deal with. He's both undersized and tall, and that is a problem because leverage is an issue. Some of these smaller guys, at least they're short, so they can win leverage. Onedem is going to have to really learn how to sink his hips to take advantage of how undersized he is, and that's not necessarily an easy thing to do. He's wasn't really a productive pass rusher in college, which is tough when you're undersized. If you're going to be small, then I want you to bring something to the table in terms of getting to the quarterback, and I don't know if that's going to happen here. He's got to develop his skills pretty significantly. He's got to become a more skilled player because I think a tall, undersized tackle is going to have issues getting by on pure length and athleticism. So he's got to advance his skills a little bit here. So the length definitely gets your attention. He's a good athlete. I don't know that he wasn't even that good at A&M. I got some concerns here. I'm not a big fan of this, and I know you're not supposed to be a big fan of a guy that's graded in the 6th round, but even by that standard, I have questions. So I'd go 7th round here. 6th would be fine because it is a weaker draft, but I don't know. This one kind of jumped out to me as a little bit of a concern. All right. That's going to do it for this video. There's going to be another video later today where we wrap up defensive tackle. Let me know what you guys think. Go Hawks. See you guys soon.